Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Fairuz Piti Fadli and my mentor number 29547. Today I will present the introduction of our grade assignment in halal bakery and pastry industry.
First and foremost, what is important in halal bakery and pastry sector is the production, sale and consumption of bakery goods that comply with the Islamic dietary regulations, which are also known as halal. So, halal is the Arabic word, means permitted and lawful in terms of Islamic law. This industry includes cakes, cookies, bread, pies and pastry which cater to the both Muslim and non-Muslim consumers. Besides, in this industry, halal certification is guaranteed that the ingredient used and the production procedure involved in producing pastry and bakery items abide by Islamic rules and standards like excluding prohibited elements like pork and alcohol or wine, and also looking for hygiene practice. That halal is significant for bakery and pastry industry for several reasons. First being religious observance, which refer to what is permitted or legal in accordance with Islamic principles. Second, show consideration for Muslim customers, which means their food needs and preferences are acknowledged, making them feel appreciated and welcome. Third, not giving customer any doubt. Is it because halal certification requires strict quality control procedure, including hygiene, cleanliness, and ingredients traceability. The certification procedure guarantees that the halal goods are produced and handled according to the certain standard, reducing the possibility of contamination and improving the overall quality of the product. Moreover, the reason is significant because of growing part of the world's population is Muslim. Muslims dominate an important part of the consumer market. Therefore, certifying their dietary requirements can be profitable for bakeries and pastry shops. Next, halal certification is frequently needed for items to be exported to nations with a majority Muslim populations. So, bakery and pastry shops can broaden their market reach beyond their local communities and investigate chance for worldwide trade by gaining halal certifications. Therefore, the bakery and pastry industry requires halal solutions to meet the dietary requirements of Muslim customers, encourage inclusions, guarantee food safety and quality, take advantage of a developing market, and open international trade prospects. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Siti Abdurrahim. My metric number is 295642. So I will continue about the growth of the halal bakery and pastry industry. The halal market is expanding yearly. There are various ways to view how the halal and baking business have developed. The first one is several elements contribute to the growth of the halal bakery and pastry sector. Second one is Muslims primarily consume halal food product. Thirdly, demand is rising as a result of consumer preferring clean, safe and high quality food. And the last one is due to instead of product being sold as halal but not actually meeting halal requirement, there is a demand for a genuine halal product. Next, I will continue about the challenges faced by the halal bakery and industry. Every halal sector must face hurdles in order to grow. This is because producing halal and tayyib commodities is difficult. Sharia complying is required for goods produced by halal industry. This is primary indicator of the status of bakery and pastry ingredient in the halal logo. First one is the status of halal ingredient in bakery and pastry product. Determining the halal status of baking and pastry component is challenging due to the process involved. Gelatin, for instance, is derived from animal sources like animal skin, connective tissue, and bones. If the animal used are not halal, such as pork or not slaughtered according to Sharia requirement, Muslim cannot consume gelatin. Second is substitute pastry and bakery ingredient issues. Choosing suitable replacement for questionable dough conditioner in pastries and baked goods is challenging, especially for a chef relying on standardized recipes. Glycerin, commonly used in fondant and roll icing, is tricky to determine as halal or not without certification, since it can come from both animal and plant sources due to soap manufacturing. Precise measurement on consistent ingredient use are vital for quality, making a replacement less straightforward. It is crucial to opt for halal certificate ingredient instead of substitute. Third is ingredient and technical terms ambiguity producing sources. The pastry and bakery industries rely on processed product, making it difficult to determine the halal status of the ingredient. While plant-based substances like wheat and sugar are generally safe, ingredients of animal origin and certain additives can be concerning. Gelatin, sodium sterolate, lactic and shortening, commonly used in baked goods, may not be halal if derived from non-halal sources like pig. Proper sourcing and halal certification are necessary for ensuring compliance. Next, I will continue about the current issues surrounding producing and the production and distribution of halal bakery and pastry industry. First one is gatekeeper. In Malaysia, JAKIM acts as the halal authority, but the application for certification is voluntary for manufacturers. This has resulted in significant flaws in the halal food manufacturing system, allowing products with problematic components by pass mandatory inspection. Consequently, pastry and bakery dishes often contain ingredients with questionable halal certification, misleading Muslim consumers who assume they were halal due to being sold alongside other halal ingredients. Second, supply chain integrity. Establish a robust halal supply chain management system is crucial to ensure the integrity of halal products. Businesses must meet halal requirements at every stage, from ingredient sourcing to distribution. Maintaining clear communication with supplier and stakeholders is vital to prevent contamination or mix-ups. The supply chain should be traceable and visible, from raw material procurement to finished product delivery. Strict quality control, collaboration with approved halal supplier, and regular audit help ensure adherence to halal standards. Last, logistics and distribution. To maintain the halal status of bakery and pastry items, proper storage, handling, and transportation are essential. Steps to minimize cross-contamination include separate storage for halal and non-halal products, clear labeling, and specialized distribution method. Clear labeling should indicate the halal status and include relevant certificates. Proper handling and sealed packaging should be implemented during transportation to prevent contamination.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Adrifa, metric number 288368. I will continue to present about the legal discussion. The first one is about Food Act 1983. This act aims to protect consumer by ensuring that the food they consume is safe and does not contain any harmful materials. It includes provision for the ban on the sale of harmful food and prohibits the preparations of and sale of misleading fraudulent food item. Next is Food Regulation 1985. This regulation provides guidelines for processes such as food sampling, labeling, packaging, and other related areas. They address concerns such as food labeling, language use, grain labeling, and packaging in retail premises. However, they don't specifically touch on halal labeling. Food Hygiene Regulation 2009. This regulation governs the hygiene and cleanliness standard for food premises, including factories, restaurants, and food trucks. They cover aspects such as food preparation, storage, distribution, and labeling. They are also relevant to ensuring the hygiene and health standard for halal-compliant meals. Lastly is Trade Description Act 2011. This act focuses on preventing false trade descriptions and deceptive practices related to delivery of goods and service. It provides provision for the certifications and marking of goods, including halal certification. Violation of this act can result in fines and imprisonment. Overall, this act and regulation work together to protect consumers by ensuring the safety, hygiene, and accuracy of the food labeling and description. They also emphasize the importance of halal compliance and cleanliness in food preparation and handling.
Hi, my name is Fatima Azara binti Muhammad Irwana and my metric number is 295729, and I will continue about food preparation guideline under the legislation law. The Malaysian government has established criteria for each process of preparation of food. from the farm to the customer. The food preparation guideline has its own section under Malaysian legislation, specifically the Food Act of 1983. Even this act is divided into three sections, which is Food Regulation 1985, and Food Hygiene Regulation 2009, Food Issuance of Health and Certificate of fish product, or to EU Regulation 2009. Okay, whether the amount of guidelines contained in the Food Hygiene Regulation 1985, among them are based on section contained in regulation. And then registration and the premise conduct, the food preparation in the registration of the premise, conduct and maintenance of food premise, food handler, special requirements in handling, preparing, packing, serving, storing and selling specific food, okay, and then carriage of food, and if the enforcement officer find that the owner of the premise has violated any part of section under the Food Hygiene Regulation 2009, and it can be fined not more than 10,000 or imprisoned not more than 2 years. Okay, the food must be from a halal source. It's a mandatory for halal guidelines. Okay, the food should not the food should be that there is no in doubt. The food must be trained and know about the laws contained in the Food Act 1983. The food preparation should be in a clean condition. The premise must also be clean and have obtained a license from a local government. The food provided should be halal for Muslim. Always ensure that the premise is clean according to the regulation. Food in the Food Hygiene Regulation 2009. The premise must meet the standards. Okay. Ensure that each cookware or the utensils is in clean condition or has been sanitized, if that's necessary. And the shop owner is responsible for any incidents that occur under the owner premise. Okay, if the premise has a vehicle as an intermediary of the purchase of sales of good, the owner must be ensured that the condition of the vehicle is not mixed with the other foreign objects. If the owner of the premise has a vending machine, the owner should place the vending machine in a suitable location, and the floor should be clean and not slippery. Refrigerators should not be mixed with any raw cooking ingredients, and if any of the above is contravention or caught during the inspection, the penalty is the same as mentioned before. Okay, it is because food preparation and food hygiene is important to us, because we are what we eat. Okay, and next we move to the challenges in implementing and enforcing halal bakery and pastry standards regulations. These include the prohibition of import. According to Customer Order Law 1988, the order provides control over the import of milk products, poultry fat, lard, pig fat, and others based on experience and interviews with several small business owners that own bakeries and pastry. Some of them prefer to use gelatin, and some of them not use any ingredients that include alcohol, but need to use that in the oven that bake the cake with the pig ingredients. And why? Because they see the cake and pastry become tastier and softer with the gas coming from the oven compared to the food that has been processed and not using those ingredients. Especially non-Muslim, they don't have the proper knowledge in halal and Sharia food terms and condition, and even if they do know about them, some of them just really don't care, as long as their bakery and pastry taste better than others and have their own regular customer, including a Muslim customer, without knowing that the food they consume is not met the halal tayyib standards.
To be concluded, the halal pastry and bakery business is a thriving global industry that caters to both Muslims and non-Muslim customers by producing and selling baked goods that adhere to Islamic dietary requirements. Halal certification plays a crucial role in assuring food safety and quality, as it ensures that ingredients and manufacturing processes align with Islamic norms and regulations. This certification requires stringent quality control measures to minimize contamination and enhance product quality. However, the halal industry faces challenges in generating halal and toyib commodities due to the difficulty in determining the halal status of processed ingredients. The existence of an original JAKIM approved halal mark is essential for establishing trust among cooks and consumers. The sourcing and certification of ingredients become crucial to address concerns and animal origin, additives, and substitute substances. The Malaysian government has established laws and regulations such as the Food Act of 1983, the Food Regulation of 1985, and the Food Cleanliness Regulation of 2009 to protect consumers from unsafe food and whole food producers, manufacturers, and marketers accountable for health and cleanliness. The Trade Restrictions Act of 2011 further discourages misleading trade descriptions and deceptive practices to promote ethical business practice. Violations of these regulations carry penalties such as fines, imprisonment, or both. Overall, the halal pastry and bakery industry has experienced significant growth due to increased demand and awareness. By satisfying the dietary requirements of Muslim customers and adhering to strict halal certification processes, businesses can expand their market reach, enhance international trade prospect, and maintain food safety and quality standards. However, addressing challenges related to ingredient sourcing, certification, and supply chain integrity remains crucial for the continued success of the industry. That's all from us. Thank you.